Welcome. My name is Julie Gehring. We'll get into my background in a little bit. I just want to share kind of the purpose of why we're here today. The title's pretty self-explanatory. Getting yes, how are we going to convince our volunteers to join, potential volunteers? How can we increase brand awareness throughout your institution, organization? And I believe that can be accomplished in a few different ways. So we're going to talk about some of our elevator speeches. I'm going to give you a few what I think are innovative networking ideas. I want to take a little bit of time to focus on you and learning about professional development and how to execute your thought leadership. Talk a little bit about where my organization has gone through virtual events. And I think if we can get anything out of this time together, it is really taking some time to practice your elevator speeches. I think that we're going to be in a great room and environment of people that will be able to coach us and give us some honest feedback. I see some names of individuals that I've worked with for years. I've seen some of my Dutch friends in this group, so I know the Dutch are direct, and we're really hoping that you're going to help us be as direct as possible with our when we practice our elevator speeches. But I'm really glad to be here and to walk you through kind of where I've been on my journey as I come at mentoring in a few different ways and marketing awareness. So I've studied communication studies and PR and marketing in my my educational experiences from university in Maryland called Towson University. I made my way up to Boston, and I received my master's in integrated marketing communication. So I really come at the field in a different way. I'm not a practitioner. I've become one over the years, but I didn't study psychology. I studied marketing communication, where there is a lot of overlap in that, right? Front and center is always the young person, and that's my mentee, Tova, and I've got goosebumps on my hands. I love her so much. We met when she was in 5th grade. She is now a senior, she's now a freshman in college. I have bragging rights. She's actually attending the university that I went to, and trust me, that wasn't by happenstance. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went in and has gone into our relationship, and I'm just always happy to have her in mind. We met when in my previous role, I was the director of mentoring for a private tuition-free middle school for at-risk youth, opportunity youth in Boston, where we helped young girls transition from high school, so ages 13 to 14, and we continue on with them until high school and some college. Made a big switch, went in, and I'm currently, I started a job during COVID, believe it or not. I found gainful employment in COVID with the University of Connecticut, UConn, I'll reference that. And it's with an Institute of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. So actually pre-COVID, the university received a grant to start up a program which we call Networks, and that links young people, college students. Again, I'm using that framework of an 18, 19, 20-year-old age, and we connect them virtually with entrepreneurs. And so they might not be business owners, but we believe in the entrepreneurial spirit and that it's a mindset. And I think if any organization or role that has a lot of entrepreneurship to it, it's the mentoring field, right? We're always wearing different hats, we're pivoting, we're creative. So it's a great role. It's very interesting. And so as I kind of come at the different experiences that I'm about to show you, I might be wearing a few hats and bringing in those experiences. And then I also teach public speaking. So that's where we're going to get into those elevator speeches, because I'm so passionate about speaking and bringing our brand to the forefront. I would be totally remiss if I didn't talk about how much I love this summit. I've been involved from the start, from the Netherlands to Berlin, and now working with a team in Spain. And if you're new to the European Mentoring Summit, please know what an awesome organization this is. Like, I can't tell you that how much I've benefited from the relationships that I've met with the different practitioners and researchers, and it's just not this one day or this one week. Like, feel free, connect with people on LinkedIn and broaden your network, because if there's one thing I've also learned about this field is that you can work many times in a silo, right? We don't have many dollars for mentoring, but it's when you can come at a global perspective and communicate and meet different mentors from around the world is really kind of where I flourish, at least, and I get great ideas and energy from. So just so happy to be here. So, networking pitch. What's your pitch? You know, there's so many things that I've learned. Oh wait, hold on. I want to go back to one more thing on this slide. Is that if you see, sorry, my chat was covering this area. It's Emily in Paris. So this is a new show that's on Netflix, right? And it's about this girl that goes over to Paris. She's from America. She's got all these crazy great ideas, full of energy. She's super loud. Fits my bill a little bit. So I just want to make sure that, like, I'm not tone deaf. I understand that in some cases you might not have these resources, or for example, my friends in Russia, they're not able to be on LinkedIn, but I want to talk about it a little bit because that's kind of what we've done. And I think that it's important to just hear some of the concepts and think about how you might be able to pivot and create them as well in your own spaces. So totally want to be aware of that, though. All right, so networking pitches. Briefly, I just want to talk about how, you know, one of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes we're really excited about what we do. You can probably hear it in my voice, right? And I get excited and I speak fast about it. And there's so many different parts to my program. And if Laura was a new mentor or a new person that I was meeting, I might just inundate her with all of my excitement and information. So being aware of that is really important, and being able to get your elevator speech down. So it's no more than 150 words, and you're using your own words. So sometimes we have these elaborate mission statements, and being able to kind of pick and choose the words that you want to use, as if you're on an elevator and you only had that amount of time to convince a mentor to be a part of your program. So keeping it conversational and just practicing. Practicing is really important. I think that's something that I learned when I first went into different networking rooms, that I just, you know, I kept talking about how my program, and I would just see this glare on people's faces. And as soon as somebody checks out, that means that they're not going to say yes to you. So being able to think about your elevator pitch, I'm going to give you some time to work on that too, so you can get some constructive feedback in this session. And then once you've got your pitch down, you got to get out there. And I realize, you're like, Julie, you know, times are different right now. We can't always be in these spaces right now, but I just want to be forward thinking. We're going to get out there sometime soon. I hope. I know it. But also I think that there's other opportunities where organizations are getting so creative where you can flip the switch. So for example, one of the universities that I was a part of had a leadership program that connected different people and different like-minded and different organizations. And I was fortunate to go through a program like that, and that yielded so many opportunities that weren't only just about mentoring, but they were about sponsorships. They were about opportunities for our students to go into different spaces. And I think that's really important to be able to spend some time with in leadership development programs. And, you know, just a side note, as you're negotiating salaries, you know, how can your organizations build some of those professional development programs into your package? So I think that's important to note. There's been many times that I just started to go to similar fundraisers. So some people might call that word in our terms poaching, like I'm stealing mentors, but I don't believe that. I believe that like-minded people are involved with like-minded events, and if you can be in that space, that's great. And For me, if I went to different events, I would either volunteer my time. If I couldn't get into an event that I wanted to be a part of, I volunteered instead of paying for a ticket. I worked registration. I got to know people. Some of our board members at our organization actually were part of different spaces. So you've got to just be in that space. Like, you can't just be about your brand. You've got to be about other brands, other organizations, and how do you elevate them up? And so for me, if I attended an event, it was pretty much the only time that I used Twitter. Twitter is not one of my favorite social media platforms, but oftentimes I used Twitter to say, hey, you know, I'm at this event, Mother Caroline Academy is here, or UConn is supporting X organization, and oftentimes you would get another tweet. So you're getting your brand awareness out through social media. And along this journey, I'll tell you that, you know, when we're trying to get to yes, when we're trying to convince somebody to buy in, you really have to, there's research and statistics that say, you know, you've got to touch somebody 5 or 6 times before they get that buy-in. So the more times that they see your organization out there, whether it's in the digital space or if you're just out there networking, that's helpful. The last thing I put up on the slide was political events. So there was some volunteering that I've done on campaigns for organizations that are for politicians that were interested in the same work and space that I was involved with. And I also think it's really important to be able to bring the students to the table. So if there's an event, if there's a speech, a talk, anything that can be done outside, in person, and or online, the more the students get brought to the table at an earlier time, that's going to help them. And it's also, again, going to give your institution, organization brand awareness, you know, taking pictures with different elected officials, celebrities, etc. More often than not, they're also going to retweet you or post pictures on their social media platforms. I think it's really important to talk about your personal brand and your personal board. So again, I think that this, in these times, you know, staff structures, mentoring schemes are pretty small. So how can you get out there? I see Laura connecting or laughing with me, and Leia's there too. And who, like, thinking about who's on your personal board, like, you know, you've got a board of advisors for your mentoring organizations, but who is you're the CEO of your own board, right? And who is on there? Who is somebody that you can call, you can text, and they're going to give you honest feedback, and they're going to be there to support you. And I think that once you think about your board of directors, you know, you're going to be in a better position to call on them, to ask them for support as well, helping you get your brand out, but also being there to talk you off that ledge when you've got that idea that you're not so sure about, and getting that honest feedback. So I know that that's you know, not exactly about the organization's brand, but your brand is just as important, and having those people that you can rely on is going to help you succeed. Next, I want to talk about the different ideas that we have on how to engage mentors or volunteers. And so I like to think about it as a menu. And so you've got low touch engagement opportunities and high touch engagement opportunities. You've got the appetizer, you got the meal. And so while some people want to go straight to the entree, the meal, some people might only want to have an appetizer. So thinking of that, we also use this term like low-hanging fruit. What's easy and accessible? What's something that it's mindless, they can just do it. So again, I've talked a little bit about social media. Asking somebody to promote on social media is a heck of a lot easier than saying, can you be a mentor right off the bat? Or joining a virtual mentoring speaker event for 1 hour, asking them to show up, talk about their pathway to leadership versus having them join your board. Or just asking somebody to join your mailing list versus having them sponsor financially or hosting an event in their office. So, you know, when I meet with individuals, my brain is thinking about all these opportunities, and I'm assessing where they can be in that conversation. So I think it's really important to offer a big suite, a big menu for people to pick and choose, because I will always say, and I know that's my closing statement, but I want to reiterate it twice, that not all mentors, not all volunteers can be good mentors. And so if you think about other opportunities from the start of how to get them engaged, it'll set your program up for success. So thinking about what's going on in this space right now. So my organization at UConn, we received a grant for a significant amount of money to launch this mentorship program. And in the grant, we said that we were going to have a best practices in mentoring event, and it was going to cost X amount of money. Well, we had to scale back, right? And we still had to deliver because it was a grant line item. So what we did was we developed a best practices in virtual mentoring event with an organization in Stamford, Connecticut. They were having a Stanford Innovation Week, and we came on and we partnered with them. We helped co-host their software platform, and we brought on this mentoring event. And so it would have been really, really easy for me to just go on and talk just like I'm doing right now, right? But what's that going to do for our brand? Well, we'll get out there. We can post it on LinkedIn. That's great. But instead, I involved our mentors, and I involved two mentors that I call those champions. We always have those mentors that are out of the gate. They're so supportive. They're ready. They're excited. And so I empowered Bianca to help me with this. And she had such an extensive reach that she kept on putting this out, and she was connected to different alum and being able to showcase what she's doing online in the virtual space was really, really helpful for us. We gained new attendance, or we doubled our attendance numbers, and we also were able to onboard some new mentors from her excitement and being part of the event. I also had some students moderate the event too. So I'm one that, it's not about me at all. It's about bringing the community together, and how do we get individuals to be able to have opportunities like this. So, pivoting, getting current mentors involved is a big thing at UConn and at the Worth Institute. Another part that we did was, so after, I would say this was in June. So the students were off from school, and we started seeing them reaching out, and they were looking for different opportunities. And we have a lot of really great mentors in our landscape of Connecticut, and a lot of entrepreneurs, founders, successful individuals. And so with busy people, sometimes they don't have the opportunity to become a mentor. And what we've done was we created a brand. We've called it Worth Coffee Chats. We do them on Tuesdays and Wednesday afternoons. And we bring in an industry specialist. For example, this is so live. This happened yesterday. So Chris came in yesterday, and he just spoke about his pathway to leadership. And we set him up for success. That we said, talk about your roles in your leadership. Talk about your entrepreneurship experiences. He didn't have to prep slides. He didn't have to have a specific topic. It was so easy for him to come on. And as you see, he's the CEO of iCleanse, and he tweeted this out to his network. And so again, just creating that visibility and those low touch events. 1 hour of this man's time was not going to make or break his week, right? But he also really enjoyed spending time, and he's talking now about how else can he become involved. I really want to be strategic in saying this as well. Right now, it's not about numbers. It's serving as many students that can show up to the table as possible. So if that's 5, that's 7, that's 20, that's okay. And so we work with a number of a goal of that 7 to 10 scheme, because also we feel like it's an opportunity when you have smaller events for the young people to be able to ask a question and to reach out. And so I want to be mindful of that. I think so often we're like, oh, I need 100 people at my event. Well, one, we're living in different times right now, and I think that it's really important if we scale back a little bit. Finding your champions. I spoke about Bianca, but I just want to show you on the back end, there was some other posts that we promoted about mentoring. And so I've got some individuals here that are just sharing again with their company and with their network on LinkedIn. Working with students at the Worth Institute has been one of the highlights of my professional career. It's a great opportunity for my fellow UConn alum. I'm currently on my second mentee, and it's been a great experience. Word of mouth works, right? But what I'm here to talk about also is making it easy. So how did I get that to happen? I told the mentors that we have a LinkedIn page. I asked them if they had time to be able to promote. And I think that sometimes we fail on that. Sometimes we just push our stuff out and we forget to actually ask our mentors to do some of the work for us. I think it's really important also to be able to extend your thought leadership and lift other organizations up. And so this is an organization that I'm on the board of. It's called Elevate Youth. They're an outdoor mentoring, youth mentoring company. And they needed some help on starting and finding some ways to recruit. And I serve on their board. And I think that when you get to serve on other boards or help other organizations, it just brings this collectivism about with mentoring movement, and you get to learn different skill sets too. And I also can't stress enough the importance of just a handwritten note. I think, we forget about those things, and it's really important, those special touches to engage our current mentors, because they're our biggest advocates right now. And the more that you can provide some of those nice touches, those thank yous, I think that the greater your mentor program or pool will be. So how do I do it? I keep saying it, I make it easy. When I go out to these events, I continue to either collect business cards, or if I'm in a virtual space, some of you might already see it. I might pronounce your name wrong, Uti, but you and I already connected on LinkedIn. And so I just went through the list and I started adding individuals. I think it's Gemma, I want to say, coolest organization ever. She is like with Princess of Girona, mentor, like that's such a cool program. And so we've connected on LinkedIn. So starting to connect with individuals, but that I'm simulating that, because you can do that in different conference spaces that might be more in your space, or if you attend, for example, thinking about what the mentee needs, and maybe you attend a conference that's on nursing or culinary. How do you invite those people into your network? And right now, at this time and day, it's either LinkedIn or it's building that database. And so one thing that happened last week was I was really frustrated. I got a huge, it was a jackpot of mentoring contact information from our career development team. And so there were people that were interested in it. And, I try to onboard 15 to 20 mentors a month. I know it's a little extensive, but it's virtual mentoring, and, we just have some goals. So I got frustrated because I sent this blast out and I made it easy. I gave them a program overview was attached. I attached my Calendly when I could meet. I had their application. I thought it was so easy. And come to find out, nobody was applying. And so I'm like, what is going on? So I spent 30 minutes, maybe it was 45, and instead of blasting it out to everybody, I changed the subject line. I put Laura, mentoring opportunity with UConn. I wrote, hi, Laura, in the subject line, instead of just saying, hi, alum. And guess what? I yielded 5 mentors just from that. I'd already sent them 2 emails, but the personalization really, really helped me out. So I want to make note of that. When we talk about recruitment, it is so important to explain all the expectations up front. One of the main reasons why matches don't last is and prematurely is because the mentors weren't given the information up front. So I really like to be upfront with my mentors. In some of the promotional work that I give them, I have a job description that talks about what they're going to be doing, specific meeting times. What do they need? Do they have to have a car? Does it have to be reliable transportation? In this day and age, it might look like, do they need a mobile device? Do they have to have internet? Like, what does that need? And what does that mean for your organization? Laying it out up front so they know that they can do it or they can't. And if they can't, think about the other ideas that I talked about. Think about how can we get them engaged by those small opportunities, like those one-offs. And I think that will really help build your programs. You can't just have one solution for everybody. You can't just be targeting mentors. What else can they do? You probably need a lot of help on other activities, marketing, communication, even just driving recruitment efforts. So I like to just think about the different ways that I can engage different opportunities. I spoke about Calendly. I believe that it works overseas. I don't see why not. It's super easy to integrate with your Outlook if you use that, or Google Calendars. What I do is I just mark off 3 or 4 different times, either a day or in the week, for mentors to just book a meeting. I think you lose mentors when you're going back and forth. What time can you meet? What happens next? No, if you integrate your calendar, they can book on. You can set a Zoom calendar reminder, and it's flawless. And this has saved me so much time in my recruitment efforts that I hope you really take the time if you don't have the extra support on booking meetings. I think it's really important to focus on the screening. Learning about the priorities of the mentor is important. Asking them how they found out about the program will lead you to a bigger pool. If they found out about it through X organization that you didn't even know that knew about your program, well, guess what? You should go talk to that organization. How else can they help you recruit? I think that the second questions are very similar, but it also yields different screening. It talks about the intentions. You get an opportunity to learn about their timeline and how much time that they can put into a mentor relationship. Because at the end of the day, we know that this is all about the students and all about the young people, and we want to set them up for success. Laura, how am I doing on time? Good? Okay. So again, I talked a little bit about LinkedIn. If I had more time, I would do an entire session on this. This has been a gold mine for me. In your LinkedIn page, I did a screenshot. If you go on to LinkedIn, you'll find a little magnifying glass. If you put in a random word, it'll bring up an opportunity to be able to search a little bit more directly. And I do this often when I have mentee applications and they're looking for a mentor that's pretty specific. And you can see they have all different categories in which you can get connected to somebody with. So I took this as a short example. I wanted to find somebody from UConn that worked in financial services that spoke the English language. And so I've got like 3 or 4 different people that popped up immediately. On the right-hand side, you can see how much of a networker I am. I just pop in. I say, hi, Bo. I would say, hi, Bo. I run a mentor program. Really interested in having you learn about our program. And there's an opportunity to even attach a document on there. So I would attach my program overview and I would leave my email address in. And this has been my most successful recruitment tool to date with our program, because I can't be out. I can't go down to New York. I can't be in Boston. I can't be my typical Julie, selling the program all over the world, right? But using this has been very helpful for me. If you are structuring budgets right now and you can have the opportunity to spend a little bit more money, I don't know if it works for your organization, but I've upgraded my account because I can get access to, you've got first connections, second connections, and now third connections. And if you increase your visibility or increase your membership, if you opt in to pay, it just unlocks more opportunities. But again, getting out there is key. And if you've gone to a few events or you keep on connecting in with people, then your network grows on a free basis. But I just wanted to point that out there because I just did it, and I have another gold mine right now. All right, so I've talked a lot. I know that. I love talking. I love helping people talk about marketing, communication, opportunities. But here's what I want to do. I'm going to break the rules just a little bit. Hopefully Laura won't tell Marta. But normally you go in right away and you start talking about your organization. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to give us 1 minute or 1.5 minutes to think about our elevator pitch. And I'm going to play some really nice music, and then I'm going to give you some more directions. So what I want you to do right now is just think about your elevator speech for your organization, what that looks like to you. Come up with some thoughts, and we're going to practice our pitches in a little bit. You can take some notes down. I just want you to think about being a little bit more intentional when you talk about your program, and when you get into the rooms, instead of just thinking about everybody as a colleague, which they are, think about them as if they are potential mentors and you want to sell it to them. My final thoughts is like, it's okay that you turn down a mentor. I think it's the way in which that you turn that mentor down. Is there are there opportunities that your organization can really use? You know, you might say, you know, that mentor might understand or unpack that they don't have enough time to spend with an individual, but maybe they have some really good experience in marketing, and how can you pivot their talents into helping the organization overall. I think that's really a nice way to be able to leverage people's experiences. Again, I can't stress enough of how to make it easier for the mentor and the volunteer. And I think that sometimes I realize, you know, I'm so excited about the work that I do that it can be overwhelming to somebody that is new to wanting to volunteer. So being cognizant of that and giving them takeaways, flyers to have so they can look at it at another opportunity, and then collaborating with other organizations. And that's the last thing I want to leave you with, is that too often we find ourselves in situations with other NGOs where, you know, you need mentors and I need mentors, and everybody's competing for mentors. And I think that if we instead collaborate versus compete, then we're going to leverage a lot more strengths of volunteers and get better positive experiences. And if our organizations can look similar and model some of the same practices, such as using the elements of effective practice and mentoring to create your structures, if that way, if Krista goes to one mentoring organization and then Jennifer goes to another one, you're going to have some of the same practices that people know and or people are aware of. So I want to thank you for your time. I know I ran a few minutes over. It says 10 o'clock on my screen and 10:04 a.m. on my phone. So I apologize. I'm so thankful for all of your time. I know one thing that happens in conferences is that we meet and we do a little breakout room and we don't see each other again. So quickly I threw together a Google Doc if you're interested in putting your information on there so you can reach out. That'll live in Google Docs. So if you're ever having a question and Vanessa says, hey, you know what, I want to email Jacob, you can do that. So for what it's worth, also feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and I'll stick around and answer a few more questions if anybody wants to stay on longer. I'm giving this presentation again on Thursday, so feel free to hop back in, and I'm always available. So I'll give you my email address too, and thank you again. Awesome. Well, the last question, we didn't have a breakout room number 5, but it's what are some of the hopes and dreams, and some of mine are that we all can continue to connect, whether it's virtually or one day at the next summit, that you're getting out there, just go out there, you know, and be yourself, be authentic. That's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear that you've got your speech written down and you're reading it word for word. It's okay if you mess up. Just be you. And I wish you great success. I'll stick around if you have any questions for me. It's 9:43 and I want to be cognizant. Well, I don't know what it is in military time. You can see the bags under my eyes because I was freaking out that I was not going to make the session this morning. But I appreciate
it's 3:45 now here, at least in Barcelona.
Nice. So if you have questions, I'm happy to stick around. If not, I understand that there's competing things like glasses of wine probably, or fun things to do. But I really enjoyed your time today, your effort, and everything that you put into the session. So thank you for coming to mine. There were so many other ones that you could have gone to. So thank you once again.
Yeah, you're welcome, and I would like to thank you for this interesting session.
Yeah.
It was
Thanks,
great.
Julie.
Thank you. Bye.